Mobile penetration of data services on 4G network sits at around 50% in our markets, which effectively means 1 out of 2 people are still to get a mobile phone with broadband connectivity. And when you look at the residential broadband, the fiber that needs to go into the households, you assume, in Europe, 90% of the households are connected to good broadband. In our markets, only a third are connected to reliable broadband. That's why we keep building over 1 million homes with fiber every year and connecting about 400,000 residential customers every year, because there's such a tremendous opportunity and a marvelous way to fulfill our responsibility as well.
So you're painting a very clear picture of the opportunity that you see there. You've talked about closing the digital divide, and often when we talk about this, it's not just the fixed infrastructure, but it's also the mobile infrastructure as well, because it's not just a case of having access to broadband or to connectivity. It's actually having the financial access to actually get the device or whatever it is that will connect. And then within homes as well, it's not just having the one connection for the one person in a household. It's ensuring that there is enough for children to do schoolwork, for people to run small businesses, and so how do you get to that level as well?
Yep. I always remind myself and everyone I speak of that we have, in the markets we operate largely in Central America, 50% of the population is below 20 years of age. Just imagine the populational dividend that entails. And just imagine that every one of those youngsters is using a mobile phone or an internet connection at home to get connected. Surely they're gaming, surely they're watching content, but they're also teaching themselves to code. So I imagine a world in which you put together broadband connectivity, digital highways, 4G, 5G, fiber networks with a young population, and you let that alchemy come out into innovation.
And then I guess your next challenge is ensuring you don't get brain drain, because then you need to keep them there so that you can utilize on those skills. I can see from your smile that's something else.
You've touched on something that is very dear to my heart. As you see, it's both business and social responsibility. Yeah. So the countries we operate in are Central America, Bolivia, Colombia, and others in the region. And everything you hear about is usually around immigration to the US and poverty and gangs, etc. And I tell you, Sasha, I have yet to meet one of these young kids that actually want to migrate to the US. I'm both Latino and American. The food is not better in the US. The music, yeah. They go to the US to work, right? So just imagine.
So you need the jobs. You need to keep the jobs.
Right. So the more we build of these networks in our countries, the more that connectivity is really good, the less they're going to be migrating to the US. In my view, they'll be working for Silicon Valley out of Tegucigalpa with a great connection.
What are you talked a lot about the challenges and what you want to do, but let's look at your 3-year plan, right? What are the actual concrete steps you want to get maybe out of your visit here, or at least want to see sort of put in motion the concrete steps to get to the next 3 years of where you want to be? First of all, where do you want to be in 3 years?
So I've set upon ourselves the goal to make sure that these digital highways get built, that there really is broadband connectivity that is brought to our economy, because I believe that will be the infrastructure that will allow these countries to get connected, to stop migrating, to be able to sell their talent, which you mentioned, to the world. I recall when I was way younger, I used to write speeches for the government of Colombia about development. And back then, 30 years ago or so, it was all about physical infrastructure. And we talked about how development requires ports and airports and roads so people can get coffee and textiles and bananas exported. Many of those did get built, or some of them did not get built. So our role is to make sure that these digital highways, they get built so that that talent has access. It's about connecting the unconnected.
It's fascinating to talk to you. Thank you very much for taking the time, and thank you for your keynote earlier as well. I know a lot of people are talking about it. Maurizio, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Now you're watching Mobile World Live, bringing you all the most powerful insights from all of the industry's smartest thinkers every day here at MWC 22. Now it's time for a special report from our partner, Vodafone.
You're watching our special report on Vodafone as part of our MWC 22 Barcelona broadcast, and I am delighted to be joined by Alex Fromont-Curtil, who is the Chief Commercial Officer of Vodafone. Alex, it's great to see you.
Thanks for having me, Justin.
Thanks for joining us, Alex. Now, of course, we're back to business in Barcelona. Tell us, what is Vodafone's aim for MWC this year?
Well, first of all, we're delighted to be back physically at MWC, where really the conversations are going to be shaping the future of our industry. Vodafone typically likes at MWC to show a glimpse of the technology of the future. But this year, we wanted to focus on one fundamental crisis that we're all facing, the climate crisis. And that's why we wanted our voice to be heard and to lead the industry in telling that we need to enable a much more sustainable society. So planet is at the heart of our MWC presence.
Yeah, you raised a very good point there, Alex, with the battle against climate change. What role can Vodafone's networks and technologies play as we look to address some of society's wider challenges?
So connectivity has played a really important role. And I think we've realized that this importance of digital inclusion is really key for Europe going forward. And so that's definitely a theme that we are focusing on as a company. But also during the COVID crisis, I think the climate challenge has really risen in everybody's conscious, whether it's consumers or businesses, governments, definitely. And so this is really a theme that we have chosen to focus on this year at MWC. And so if I reflect a bit on our network, our technology, what can we do? Well, first, as an industry and as Vodafone, we need to lead by example, which means really making sure that we are doing everything we can in our own right. So at Vodafone, for example, all our European networks are 100% powered by renewable energy. We have a big focus on e-waste to make sure we reuse and recycle our network waste. And of course, we're working on our carbon footprint with the aim to reduce our carbon footprint by 2025 and really eliminate carbon across all our footprint and supply chain by 2040. These are the so-called net zero commitments. That's what we are doing, I would say, internally. But what is really special is that as Vodafone, but also as an industry, we can enable other businesses, we can enable consumers to also have an impact on climate change. So you will see on our stand at MWC a couple of demos of how our technology can help businesses and consumers reduce their carbon footprint. Let's take a few examples. With our technology, we can help really deforestation, as we did in Romania. With our technology, we have really IoT forest management capability that we're piloting with the UK government. We'll be showing you a couple of sensors that helps businesses optimize their supply chain and their logistics. And finally, we'll be looking at for consumers how they can really take part in the circular economy of hardware.
Let's expand a little bit on that concept of the circular economy that you just mentioned, Alex. I mean, what is Vodafone doing in this area?
So as Vodafone, we realize that hardware and technical hardware is really predominant nowadays. So in today's situation, in UK as an example, every individual has about 6 connected devices. As a household, it's probably more around 20, and we think that's going to continue growing and growing. Well, that's a real challenge for the planet. So last year, in 2021, we had announced an initiative called Eco Rating, which was about helping consumers make the right choice by identifying those smartphones that have the highest, I would say, reusability capability. That was last year. This year, in 22, Vodafone is rolling out a suite of services to help consumers prolong the life of their hardware. So from device financing to insurance and repair, and also to trade in and good as new secondhand refurbished devices. All of these capabilities are really about telling the customers, let us help you prolong the lifetime of your hardware. And this is not just Vodafone doing this. I'm really inviting here the whole industry and the whole value chain to take part in this initiative to really make the circular economy a key part of our industry.
Some strong goals there, Alex. What is Vodafone's vision of the future? What are your real objectives and hopes?
So we've just published a report with the Future Laboratory around our vision of the future of connectivity. One of the first conclusions is that there's really an explosion in connectivity that is currently happening and will continue in the next couple of years. Of course, it is driven by both the proliferation of hardware we just talked about, but also by the use cases and applications that are using our network. And as we move increasingly into AR and VR, definitely there will be a lot of demand in our networks, both from a speed, a capacity, and a latency. So I think really, as soon as you think about AR, VR, we really need 5G at scale. That's really, I say, more from the connectivity perspective. But we also see some very strong trends in terms of the connected home, because now there's more standardization and interoperability of devices, and that's a key enabler for that to take off. We're seeing a huge demand for what we call urban mobility, so green urban cities. Today, cities don't need to be smarter. They need to be greener. They need to be more sustainable. And we really believe that with IoT sensors and our capabilities, we can help governments and local mayors make their cities much more sustainable, whether around energy efficiency, electrical vehicle charging. That will make it a much better place to live. And that's maybe around kind of the neighborhood you want to live. But from a broader economy perspective, we are also seeing that now businesses will definitely embrace data-based decision-making to be able to run their business more efficiently. And that data-centric approach to business will be driven by a lot of sensor and IoT technologies. So if I look at those elements from a consumer perspective to a business perspective to a government perspective, connectivity, being able to understand the world real time, and hence the bandwidth necessary to deliver that is really our future. So the future looks very exciting. Definitely 5G is going to play a key role both for businesses and consumers going forward. And that's the vision we have. Accordingly, when I take a step back about thinking about our challenges as a society, of course there are challenges. We do have great technology, and we do believe that with this great technology, if we can get the human creativity to take those technologies, we can solve any kind of challenges of society. And that's really the mindset that we have when we say together we can.
Well, you've touched on some major topics there that I'm sure are going to be big talking points in the halls of the Fira Grand Via this year. Alex, thank you very much for sharing those thoughts. It's been good talking with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Suntem două persoane pe 4.000 de hectare de pădure. Ce putem face?
La Vodafone vrem ca impactul pe care îl avem în societate să fie unul benefic pentru oameni, fără a pune în pericol mediul înconjurător. De aceea avem obiective foarte clare, atât interne cât și externe, cum este acest proiect de prima pădure smart din România.
My name's Lawrence, and I'm here in the Carpathian Mountains in Romania to help stop the illegal logging and poaching that goes on in this area.
Am văzut cu toții veștile triste legate de defrișările masive din ultimii ani din România. Numărul pădurarilor este mic, numărul hectarelor ce trebuie protejate este mare. Putem ajuta. Digitalizând în mod neintrusiv pădurile, le putem proteja mai bine. Înțelegem cu toții urgența acestui fenomen. Avem o soluție deja implementată și dorim ca prin intermediul tehnologiei avansate pe care am incorporat-o în ea să contribuim la aceste eforturi.
Am dezvoltat un sistem de monitorizare acustică alimentat cu panouri solare, care, folosind rețeaua Vodafone, transmite în timp real, criptat, continuu, strigătul de ajutor al pădurii.
This is the actual Guardian device. This is the device that will be recording the sounds of the forest and then sending it back. And this inside has the mobile device.
Sunetele colectate sunt transmise către o aplicație dotată cu inteligență artificială, care le compară cu monstre din baza de date asociate unor activități suspecte.
We install the Guardians in the canopy of the forest. This protects the Guardian from the elements, from the wind, from the rain. The solar panels are designed in a really efficient way to maximize surface area. And plug the microphone in here, put some protection on.
Pădurea este smart și ne anunță prin telefon dacă este o problemă.
The ranger has the ability to know where to go because each Guardian is GPS located. So when they receive their alert through their mobile phone, through the Ranger app, it will say that the alert is coming from a specific location.
De când mă știu de mic copil, umblu în pădure fiindcă îmi place natura. Pădurea înseamnă trecutul și viitorul.
Together we can. Vodafone.
Visit AWS Village in the upper walkway of the FIRA South entrance. Interact with AWS experts, explore demos, and discover partner solutions. See you there.
the world's largest and most influential connectivity event is back. But before you take part, find out more about our entry requirements. We call it Check-in to Get In. It's mandatory for everyone and helps us maintain a safe environment. There's no physical registration this year, so the first step is to register online. Simply upload your ID and take a selfie. Looking good. Next, automatically validate it with Breeze, our fast-track online facial recognition technology. Breeze also gives you touchless access to the venue. Or you can opt for the standard ID check, which is done manually. Now you can download the MWC 2022 app. You need this at all times. Make sure you upload your health certificate to the online registration system or the MWC 2022 app before you travel. This can be proof of vaccination, a valid certificate of recovery, or a negative test that's valid for the day of test, plus up to 2 additional days, either a PCR or rapid antigen test. The app is also your digital badge for touchless entry to the venue and lets you access great features from scheduling to networking. And don't forget, each day you'll need to complete a health declaration on the app, which activates your digital badge for that day. Perfect. Now you're done with registration. Here are a few tips. Use hand sanitizers frequently. Wear a FFP2 mask without valve and bearing the CE mark at all times. And keep your distance. And remember, if you do need a test, our medical partner, Kiron Prevention, can help you find a convenient location. Now you're ready for business. Whether you're flying into sunny Barcelona or joining us virtually, we can't wait to welcome you back to MWC 2022, the place where business gets done safely.
We are Kyndryl. We design, build, manage, and modernize the mission-critical technology systems that the world depends on every day. Working with our customers, we imagine things differently. By forging new strategic partnerships, we unlock new possibilities, creating a world powered by healthy digital systems, alive with opportunity, oxygen to innovation, and energy to change the world. We are Kyndryl, and we are the heart of progress.
Oh.